the Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking.
Can you smell what the Gauntlet is cooking on a Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen? We are going to be breaking down some good stuff tonight on the show. Warren Moon is our player of the week, ladies and gentlemen. We are also going to be getting into our game of the week. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots, the Super Bowl that we all know should have ended with Marshawn Lynch getting the ball. We're going to have that debate later on in the show. NFL headlines. Aaron Rodgers kind of torn on his decision. Does he want to stay with Green Bay? Does he want to go to all these other teams? We don't know what he's going to do yet. Also, Amari Cooper expected to part ways with the Dallas Cowboys ahead of the new league year. So now, before we get the show started, bringing on my co-host. And then we got Mr. Detroit Dom in the building. Actually, it's not Detroit Dom. That's Dom DeRubis' mixtape.
Hot fire for the
Man,
streets.
he got me for the second time because backstage I really thought Dom had two things open. And then there's Detroit Dom. And the moment you guys have all been waiting for. I know it's been a little different on the show. The last couple weeks. Just having like different guys fill in and everything. So, in this corner, the heavyweight champion of the world from Chicago, Illinois, Tyler Ingram is back, baby. Let's go. Tyler is back in the building. What's up, bro? We're so happy
What's
you're
up?
back.
What's up? Glad to be back. Glad to be back with the guys, talking some football.
Yes,
man,
sir.
There's not one spot I would rather be right now on a Saturday night.
This is the place to be on a Saturday night, guys, and I really would appreciate it. Everyone watching at home, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up on this video, on the stream here on YouTube, on the YouTube channel over here, and at Sideline Sports. This would help the algorithm out, get it out to more people so we can bring more people to the Gauntlet and dropping more facts on them. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Gauntlet Player of the Week is Mr. Warren Moon, longtime Houston Oiler. He started his career in the CFL, where he won 5 straight championships. And then he finally got his opportunity with the Houston Oilers, and the rest is basically history. So Warren Moon, in 10 years with the Oilers, he passed for over 33,000 yards, nearly 200 passing touchdowns, and those numbers were only surpassed by one Dan Marino in that era. So, Warren was clearly one of the best quarterbacks that played during that time. He's also one of the best quarterbacks, period. He's a Hall of Famer, and when you talk about arm strength, this guy could rip the football. He could put the ball into any tight space. He probably has a top 5 arm, I think, in NFL history. So, Jay, you want to start us off since you're a diehard Houston Oilers fan now with the Texans, but you have a lot of memories of Warren, I'm sure.
Absolutely, man. Coming up a long time Houston Oilers fan, Warren Moon is he's my favorite quarterback of all time. Just like you said, he spent the first 6 years in Canada. Just running over some more stats here. And you touched on it. He won 5 straight Grey Cup championships. Mind you, this guy was undrafted out of Washington in 1978. He won 5 straight Grey Cup championships, and he came over to the NFL. Now, little known fact, but they actually wanted him to position switch. And at the time period, black quarterbacks were kind of in its infancy. And so he said in an interview, well, I was not big enough to play tight end and not fast enough to play receiver, and I wanted to play quarterback, so I stayed quarterback. But in that time period, he managed to be Offensive Player of the Year in 1990, second team All-Pro in 1990, a 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time passing yards leader, NFL passing TD leader, 5-time Grey Cup champion. He also a CFL Most Outstanding Player, their equivalent of MVP in 1983, CFL passing yards leader for 2 seasons, CFL passing TDs leader for 3 seasons, and he is the only player to be inducted in both the Canadian Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. One of only 2 people, period. The other is Bud Grant. He also became, upon his induction in 2006, the first black quarterback and the first undrafted quarterback to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Bum Phillips once said of this man, that boy could throw a football through a car wash and not get it wet. And as far as arm strength goes,
It was
yeah,
true,
you hit the
too.
nail on the yeah. And me and Tyler were actually talking about this the other night. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say top 3 hardest throws of the football. I got, in no particular order, I got Favre, Elway, and Moon, and that's all I got.
Yeah, definitely a good list as far as who throws the football the hardest. I agree. Just a couple things about Warren Moon. Obviously, a lot of people say this, and I think anyone that watches it is that Warren Moon had the best spiral of all time, right? Like, he threw that football, and that was a pretty football that he was throwing.
Yes.
And a big reason why me and James didn't even know about this until this week was that he had to keep his fingernails at a certain
That
length.
was a crazy story.
At a certain length. So a lot of guys on the team and coaches said that, like, he was kind of like a girl in a sense because he was so particular about the way his nails were looking. But listen, man, he got that sound off on that ball when he threw those spirals. You could hear that leather ripping. So if he's got to keep his nails a little bit longer to play the way he did, then absolutely props to him, especially in 1990 when Moon threw for 527 yards against Kansas City.
Second most all time.
Second most all time. And then another little note to say, just to mention through this whole thing, is that I am willing to say that the Houston Oilers have the best uniforms of all time. I'm willing to say that.
I'm willing to say that too.
I think I don't think there's any other jersey that I can even think of in NFL history that really, like, yes, the Kelly Green that James has got on.
The Kelly Greens.
I just don't think I would choose anything else over the Oilers blue, though. Their uniforms are so clean. They went well with the helmets.
I agree. I think the powder blue is better than Kelly Green, but Kelly Green close second.
I would say the top 3 unis of all time. I got the Houston Oilers, I got the Eagles Kelly Green, and I got the Atlanta Falcons black over silver.
I'd put up the Chargers blue too.
That's a good look. That's a good
one too.
I'm not mad at that pick.
No love for the creamsicles. It's fine.
No, because they're trash. They can't even compare.
Go ahead, Dom. Go ahead.
You can't even compare. Don't be disrespectful. Don't go there. Go ahead, Dom.
I was just I'm looking at Pro Football Reference right now. In 1990, 1991, as well as 1994 and 1995, Warren Moon threw for over 4,000 yards, and that didn't happen back then.
He's phenomenal.
I would like to have seen how his career would have went down had he entered the NFL prior to being 28 years old. Like Jay said, I mean, it wasn't even like he sugarcoated it. I won't. Back then, NFL owners and GMs, when it came to quarterbacks, racist. That's why he went to the CFL. It's not that he didn't have the talent. What else was I going to say?
The man
I don't think you're wrong.
Washington.
The sad thing is I don't think you're wrong.
Right.
Because, I mean, even to this day, that there's issues around race in the NFL. So it's been that way for a long time.
There's a great 30 for 30 on, I believe, the 1993 Oilers, which I consider to be one of the best single season teams of all time to not win a Super Bowl. But if you guys haven't ever seen that, go check it out. Like, you had offensive players fighting defensive players. Buddy Ryan, right? Buddy Ryan was the DC trying to fight the OC, trying to fight the quarterback, trying to fight the head coach. Buddy Ryan was a trip. But yeah, Warren Moon is an all-time great. A shame he doesn't have a Super Bowl. I put him up there with people like Charles Barkley in the NBA. Like, man, like there's many people that I would take a ring away from to give to Warren Moon. Yeah, starting with Trent Dilfer.
And what's
but just because you didn't win a ring, like that's always the stupidest argument when it comes to like talking about a player's overall legacy. A ring does not define how great a player was. You know, how they perform on a championship stage. Yes, that's a different argument. But saying guys that are all-time greats are not on the level as some of these other guys, you know, that's me. That's really disrespectful. 100%. I don't agree with that line of thinking.
I don't agree with it either. I'm just saying I wish he had a ring because he deserved it. And there's many other quarterbacks that are much less deserving that do have one. Like I said, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, he was also like Jay mentioned, he was in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame and he was in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But something to know is he was the only quarterback that was undrafted that is in the Hall of Fame as well. That's something to keep, so many people took a pass on him. And I love Warren Moon, and I love that he believed in himself so much. That's what I love so much about Warren Moon is that he knew he could get to the next level. He knew from when he was a kid that he was going to play pro football for the rest of his life. So, yeah, props to Warren Moon. I do think in this era, we had this discussion, where would he be as a quarterback? And I think, the majority of us all kind of came to the consensus that it would probably be like a top 6 to 8 quarterback, possibly in the National Football League.
Borderline top 5.
Yeah, borderline top 5 quarterback, and that's a lot of praise coming from the league.
There's a lot of talent in the league
now.
Yeah, and consider the fact that he did all this in still a relatively run-heavy league. So whenever we talk about
against some good defenses too,
against some real good defenses. So when we get in conversations of players playing in different eras, if you were to bring Warren Moon to today's era, in my opinion, he dominates.
Oh,
he was slinging back then, and now it's a pass-heavy league. Oh yeah,
right.
And Jay, he ran the run and shoot offense that no other teams were running in the NFL at the time. No one was running the run and shoot offense. They created that as kind of an identity that Houston had, and that's why Houston had the success they did. Yeah, they blew that game. What was it against the Bills in the playoffs? And 92
defensive coordinator. Yeah,
and when it was like a 32-point lead, and I think that comes up a lot with Warren Moon. A lot of people bring up that 32-point comeback and that defeat, but man, yeah, certainly.
And those same people. Because I'll tell you this much, dude. There should be no. It's what do you want Warren to do? Warren put up 35 points.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, it's worth mentioning that we fired our defensive coordinator the week after that game. So everyone wants to levy all of this towards him, and rest in peace, the man's gone now. But there was none on the defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? Right. He played prevent defense the whole second half. Whole second half.
The old prevent your own team from winning defense.
Yep. That's it.
Bend, don't break.
They ended up breaking them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, also another thing about Warren Moon, that I think that obviously we mentioned that African American quarterbacks, they weren't really having that much respect at that time. I think guys like Warren Moon, guys like Randall Cunningham, kind of changed the narrative that. Obviously there was Doug Williams before them, who was one of the first to win a Super Bowl, but his talent level, he wasn't on the level of Warren. He wasn't on the level of Randall Cunningham. These guys were superstars in the league at their position. So they really showed people that, there's guys are gifted. African-American guys can play this quarterback position too. And, we see guys today in the league, Lamar Jackson. There's so many, young quarterbacks that are African-American that can sling the rock as well. So, you know what? That's probably one of the biggest things I'll say that, I really think he's a true pioneer.
Yeah. And you talk about today's era. The funny part about it is if you were to name the top 5 quarterbacks right now on anybody's list, and no matter what order, outside of Aaron Rodgers, 4 of them are going to be of African-American descent. That lets you know how the game has evolved since then, and they actually allowed African-American quarterbacks to play ball over the years and whatnot. So it's a different time. You know what I mean? It's a different time. And you mentioned Doug Williams. He became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl with the then Redskins, now Commanders. And so it was a slow process throughout time, but gradually African-American quarterbacks became more accepting. We get into the era of Michael Vick. We covered Vick at one time, and there actually was another little known quarterback.
That's cool, John.
Dom, you probably remember this guy, cool. Vince Evans. He played for the Raiders. He kind of was the beginning of African-American quarterbacks in the league because he came in like 1979, so I would go as
First
far
time
as
I've ever
saying
seen Cool without a hat on.
Good stuff.
Cool. Actually has a scalp. Wow. What up, Meg? But yeah, absolutely. Warren Moon, most definitely a pioneer. And yeah, I gotta definitely go out there and rebuy my Warren Moon.
You gotta
number
get that
one
Warren Moon
Columbia
jersey, bro.
blue drip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must for you, Jay.
That's a must. You gotta get that Oilers merch up. You gotta step your game up. You gotta step your game up.
Hey,
Jay.
y'all seen my throwback hat? Y'all saw my throwback.
I've seen you, bro. I mean, you're packing the good stuff, bro. But we gotta step our game up still. You can't.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
can't get
All right.
we
So
can't get
next
complacent
segment,
here.
guys. Game of the week. The
Wow.
New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl game that took place in the 2014 season. It was a great game, by the way. It just ended in a way that nobody wanted it to. Nobody wanted Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl. He ended up doing that because of one Malcolm Butler, who became the Super Bowl hero, getting that interception on the 1 yard line. Couple things about this game. Marshawn Lynch had 140 total yards. He had a 30-yard reception to go on top of around 110, 115 yards rushing. Also the touchdown to boot. Then Seattle, the biggest thing for them is they could not convert a third down in this game. They were 30% on third down, 3 for 10. New England was much more efficient on third downs. New England played a much more cleaner game than what Seattle did. Seattle also had a lot of penalties. So they just really didn't look disciplined. And at the end of the game, it was just a poor coaching decision, a situation like that. You have a guy like Marshawn Lynch, who in that situation during the league at that time on the goal line, if you ran the numbers, you would probably see that Marshawn is very, very efficient on that part of the field. And they do not give him the ball, which, turned out to be the reason why they lost, or one of the ultimate reasons they lost the game. So I think that when we look back on this game, we will always wonder, what if beast mode? What if Marshawn got the ball at the 1 yard line? Seattle would have 2 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson would be a 2-time champion. There'd probably be a higher narrative for him, everything like that.
Brady and Belichick would have 1 less.
Yep. They so quick history lesson. I had just come home from my 3rd deployment at this time period. I was on R&R and I went to a Super Bowl party. I won $200 off this game betting on the Patriots. And I remember seeing, because if you recall, there was a long catch and run to beast mode to get them down into the red zone. And then he also had, I think it was like a 7-yard gain to even get to the 1 yard line. So, and I remember thinking man, I'm going to lose $200. And
it was a 9 yard. It was a 9 yard.
It was 9. Okay, 9. That's 9 yards. So it was a 9-yard gain to get to the 1. And I remember when that interception happened by Malcolm Butler, man, I jumped around the house. And I remember distinctly coming back down to earth and thinking, why didn't they give Lynch the ball? There's actually, and I'm not going to steal nobody else's thunder, I'm going to end it with this. There's actually a fan theory out there that the reason why they decided to throw it was because they wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero. An upstanding guy like Russell Wilson instead of a rebel like Marshawn Lynch to score the winning touchdown and be the hero. And if that is the case, if that is true, and the game came down to politics, that makes the Seahawks look even more stupid. Right. Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah,
that's a dumb reason to lose the Super Bowl too.
I think this is honestly the craziest ending in Super Bowl history to start. I really do think it's the craziest because, we had this discussion and some people were trying to justify why Russell Wilson threw that ball there. You don't do that when it's 1st and goal. You get a 9-yard run from Lynch, and then on 2nd and goal, you throw the ball with 24 seconds. The Pats had 2 timeouts. The Seahawks had 1 timeout. There makes no sense. You run the football in that moment because even if you don't get it, you're still burning a timeout on the Patriots part or on the Seahawks part or on the Patriots part. Yeah, you're still blowing one of those 2 timeouts even if they stuff you there. So that it's a bonehead call, especially because You got down there on a ridiculous 32-yard catch that people don't talk about in that drive from Curse.
Thank you.
An unreal catch.
That one too, yeah.
It was a bobbling catch that he shouldn't have made. He made a play on the ball. He put him in position. They give it to Lynch. He slams it for 9 yards, and then you throw the football? Nah, that's definitely on Pete Carroll on that one. He blew that Super Bowl.
That's one of the most terrible calls in Super Bowl history. Without
a few things about this. For one, to this day, Pete Carroll will still defend throwing the ball there on one of these, they'll never see it coming, idiot. For two, other than Marshawn Lynch, I'm hard-pressed to think of more than one or two other guys in NFL history that I would want to give that ball to other than Marshawn Lynch. The only other two that I could think of maybe are Jerome Bettis and Mike Allstott.
I was going to actually mention Jerome Bettis.
But the thing about it that really bothers me the most is also to this day, Fat Matt Patricia still trying to take credit for calling that defensive play. When, for one, you didn't make that play call. You never called the defense. That was all Bill Belichick. But I could go on for a whole show about my hatred for Matt Patricia. So
John Shear wants to know, guys, do you guys think Russell Wilson is overrated?
Yeah, I do. And I'm willing to say that because people come on this show, John, and they make cases while they think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Aaron frickin' Rodgers.
Are you guys kidding me?
I wish we had the clip.
We do.
Man, and before we continue, little known fact. We've been talking about Brian Flores for the last month or so, right? Did you know that it was Brian Flores' idea to put Malcolm Butler in the game? Because the guy that was in there, I think it was Kyle Arrington, he had been getting smoked all game. He took him out, put Butler in. Butler makes the play at the end.
Genius. I'll answer it. This is my opinion about it. I also think he is overrated just because of how high people put him. People put him in the elite tier. People put him with, when you talk about elite tier, this is who I think of. I think of Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And there's not a lot of people that I put in that tier, but I feel like a lot of people throw around elite so loosely that I don't agree with that. I think Russell Wilson is a very much of above average quarterback. I think that with Seattle, he's probably a little better. He probably got a little better as he went on in his career. He was only 25, 26 years old when they won the Super Bowl. But back then, he was definitely more of a high-end game manager. I wouldn't be disrespectful and say that he's a game manager right now. He's probably a little further ahead than he was, but he's still not in that elite tier. I've never really thought of him as the best quarterback in the league. I've never really thought of him being, that like he's absolutely that guy. Like for one drive, I want Russell Wilson. I've never really felt like that. I've never really viewed him as I viewed Peyton Manning or Aaron or Tom or someone like that.
If I recall correctly, the four of us have the same number of MVP votes as Russell Wilson.
True.
I think some people overrate him.
And
I
Super
think
Bowl
generally
MVPs.
he's about where he should be. I don't think he's as good as Aaron Rodgers, but this is where the rings thing comes into question. Like, do I think Matt Stafford is as good as Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? No, but they all have one ring each.
That's also true, Don. That is also true.
Because of the teams around him, right?
It seems like Russ, as he got better, his teams got worse. I mean,
here's the thing about Russ. True. Ever since the defense broke up, Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, all those guys kind of went their separate ways. And Marshawn Lynch left and he was with the Raiders for a couple years. Russell has not been past the divisional round.
Plus,
he has not been back to the NFC Championship. So I feel like there's kind of a double narrative, or there's a double standard when it comes to these narratives about Aaron Rodgers can't win in the playoffs. He can't do this. He always loses in the NFC Championship. Well, Aaron Rodgers is elevating some really bad teams and getting to the NFC Championship. These teams have no business even being there. Right. And then Russell does not get the same energy. Russell consistently loses, and he has performed badly too. It's not just, the team sucks around him. Go to his last playoff game against the Rams, where he was outplayed by Jared Goff and the Rams. They blew them out. So the narrative with Aaron Rodgers is not the same with Russell Wilson. And people put Russell on this pedestal, and I just don't agree with it.
And I don't agree with the fact that people, even when the Packers have a good defense, if we're talking about 2010 and we're talking about this last year, let's talk about those 2 years, because those are the 2 years that the Packers have had a good defense in the past 12 seasons. You're not going to convince me that Aaron Rodgers on that Seattle Seahawks team couldn't get it done. You know what I mean? If you take him and put him on Russell Wilson's situation with the Legion of Boom, with Wagner and Cam Chandler and Fred Warner and Richard Sherman. I mean, they literally threw it one time Richard Sherman's way in that Super Bowl. Tom Brady threw it one time his way, because this is what Tom Brady does. He did it with the Green Bay Packers when they played last year with Tampa. How many times did he throw it Jair's way? He threw it twice his way. Jair picked it off both times that he threw it his way. But my point is, Tom Brady's going to beat you on he's going to see where you're vulnerable at, and he's going to pick on that side. And in this situation, and then in this game, and with the last moment of the game, Russell Wilson blew it. Because even if Pete Carroll is giving you that call, then audible at the line and give it to Marshawn Lynch and win the game.
I'll say this much, and we're seemingly in agreement that he's overrated, but that's not his fault. You know who put him in that elite tier? Hawks fans. They said he was elite after he won that one Super Bowl. One Super Bowl, they said
he didn't even do a lot in that game. Like that was.
He didn't even do a lot. He was a game manager. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, the same game that gave Tyler nightmares down there, the NFC Championship game. What if I told you the Hawks won in spite of Russell Wilson? He threw 4 picks.
The Hawks fans that didn't exist prior to that season.
And we literally win that game if a botched onside doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen, exactly. But you know what? At the same time, those are the same fans that say Dak is elite, and Dak has one playoff win, ironically, to the same Russell Wilson. But more on him later. Go ahead.
Megan, you're out of line. What are you doing right now?
It's not her fault. We had some beverages prior to the noon hour.
Oh, that's so funny.
The Gauntlet Awards was rigged. It was completely rigged this year. Also, Tyler, since you brought up he was only targeted one time, Richard Sherman. I just want to show you guys something real quick. I'm not sure if anyone forgot about this, but after the play, the interception by Russell Wilson, this was Richard Sherman's and most of the people in the world's reaction to seeing that play. With you can just see the pure disgust on this man's face right now. That was absolutely brutal.
Dude, I had the same look on my face, and I won $200. Even I was like,
I was
why'd he do that?
I was completely disgusted by that game too.
He sure isn't, Megan.
And you know what? And hold on, to Dom's point, dude, we all know that was offensive coordinator Darrell Bevel's call. At least Pete Carroll is not throwing him under the bus. He's protecting his coach. But we all know deep down that was his call. Now, he could have overridden it, but no, that was Darrell Bevel right there, dude.
So I just we're about halfway through the show, so I just want to give a quick shout out to the Score No Score app. It's one of our sponsors of the Gauntlet, so definitely check out the Score No Score app. You can actually play it during football and baseball season. One way or another, we're gonna probably have a baseball season this year, whether it's only 100 games or less or whatever. But when that time comes, you definitely want to download the Score No Score app and play along as the season games start.
Yeah, and not only that, I also have another announcement to make for the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet has the Gauntlet has a new sponsorship. I think I have some business cards on me, and I do. So the Gauntlet has a new sponsorship. We're going to be working with Philly Fades here on 513 South Street. The stuff is not on there, but this is we also have a location in Phoenixville, so Phoenixville right there, and then also 513 South Street, best barber shop in South Philadelphia. Go to Silver the Barber. Tell him I sent you. He does really good work, as you guys can see here. Can see here, I know it's hidden by the hat, but you guys know I'm packing.
For the rest of us.
You guys know I'm packing. You guys know I'm shiesty, and you know what? This guy's the best in the business. So we're definitely happy to be helping him out in every way that we can as well.
Hey, shout out to Silver the Barber, man. I peeped your Instagram page, man. You're doing great work out there. Also, hear you're a producer, so I sent you a follow. Thanks for sponsoring the show, man. Much love.
Absolutely, guys.
I'm gonna get faded up when I come out there in April. I just might do it.
You ain't gonna do it.
I just
grow your hair out. Grow your hair out. Until then, I will take you.
Oh, have you ever seen pictures of me with hair? I look like my name should be John Paul Ringo, or what's the other one?
Dom Shiesty. The entrance of Dom Shiesty is coming. Just stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Dom Shiesty, he about to drop something on you. So we got some news to cover real quick, guys. First, there's been a lot of reports circulating this week. At the Combine, what we're hearing is Aaron Rodgers is most likely going back to Green Bay. Now, Ian Rappaport is saying that is not 100% accurate because he is kind of torn between what he wants to do. Part of it wants to stay with Green Bay, but there's some other opportunities that could be better for him. Among the teams interested include the Tennessee Titans, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Denver Broncos. So, what do you guys think about this? Because if you're asking me, Aaron Rodgers is one of those players that seeing him in a different jersey, it just would feel very weird to me. It would feel very weird to me seeing this happen.
It's a fire shirt, John.
So I feel like the situation has to be way better than it is in Green Bay, and I feel like if there is a better situation for him, depending on what the Titans would have to give up, I think it's Tennessee, guys. I do. I mean, if you put him on that team with A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, who I know a lot of people are going to say he's washed, he's this and that. I promise you, the level between
1 foot in the grave,
the gap between Ryan Tannehill and Aaron Rodgers is so wide that I can't even tell you how wide it is. It's probably wider than the gap on Michael Strahan's teeth. Honestly, this guy, if you put him in Tennessee, I'm very confident that we would see the Julio Jones of old come back. I believe that, and I think Titans are stacked. I think that would be the place for him. I know a lot of people will say Denver, the relationship there with Nathaniel Hackett, but Tennessee, if they get Aaron Rodgers, that's a top 2 team in the AFC.
That's a number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill. What would they be looking like with Aaron Rodgers in that trash division?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, he's staying with the Packers. Here is my little mini helmet that I got.
You can't
over
fit
here.
that. You can't fit that. That's going to look good.
He's staying with Green Bay. You heard it here first.
He's staying with the Packers. They're going to figure it out. They've already restructured 3 deals. We've already done a video breakdown on the Packers, but they're getting better.
Check it out if you guys have not seen that yet.
If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out on our YouTube page. But they are making leeway right now with their cap situation. They're restructuring deals. They're about to start extending guys here shortly. And once that happens, it's going to free up enough money for Aaron Rodgers to come back. Devontae Adams in the next, I think the trade deadline. I heard on Dom's show last night that they said that the franchise tag period ended, but that is incorrect.
Yeah, that's wrong.
It ends on March 8th, so they can still make a move and franchise tag Adams. I think the only way that Adams actually, a lot of people are saying if he gets franchise tag, he's not going to play hard. He's going to be going up and down the field. He's going to be jogging. That's untrue. Look at what happened to Allen Robinson. That completely screwed up his entire career, kind of, because he could have got paid more than he is gonna this offseason. But I do think Aaron Rodgers comes back, and I think we see a motivated Devontae Adams on a franchise tag next season.
Man. And I mean, it would be nice if he did, end his career with the Packers, but I got to go with, I'm going to bounce a little something off of y'all. All right. Me personally, I think that man made his decision the day after he lost the divisional round. He made his decision. He's just stretching things out right now because he loved the media attention. I tell you, he ends up elsewhere. I think that I think that he feels like he's stuck. Whether you think that's his fault or not, but he feels like he's stuck. I can't get past the NFC Championship or the divisional round. I need more weapons around me than Devontae or Aaron Jones. So I had been entertaining the Denver idea in the last month, and I believe those guys are one quarterback away. They'd be instantly contenders and whatnot. And I know that that Mahomes theoretically, right now he is the best quarterback in that division. If Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, he will be the best quarterback in the division, bar none. I know Mahomes is who he is, but we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here, all right? 4 most valuable players. He got the same amount of rings
coming
as
off
Mahomes.
2 straight MVPs too.
Exactly.
A better receiving core than he has right now.
Now, with that being said, are people really questioning if Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers? I got AR-12 all day, homie. All day. So
I do too, and that's not a knock on Mahomes either.
Yeah, it's not like on
Aaron's
Mahomes.
just been doing this at a high level for so long, and he's not even showing any signs of slowing down.
It's because here's the problem is that everyone gets so tied up into like what he does off the field, right? This is what the problem is with just society in general. And I don't care if I'm calling anybody out, because if you feel this way, then that's how you feel. But when you start picking on the way that things happen off the field and you start judging them on that, then you're not really critiquing somebody as a football player, and you're not critiquing someone as a basketball player, and you're not critiquing someone as a baseball player, etc. I'm just saying that. I'll call it out right now.
Critiquing them as a person.
That's
exactly right.
I've seen so many shows and so many people try and do that. They just go on there and they want to do their little media pitch and they want to make it all political and stuff like that. That's fine. I watch football. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
Facts.
Good,
Tyler.
I don't know if he's going to stay. I think that he should stay. Honestly, I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of thinking about it every day. It just reminds me more and more of Brett Favre, and I hated what Brett Favre did at the end of his Green Bay career. Oh, I'm going to leave. I'm going to stay. I'm going to retire. I'm not going to retire. I'm tired of it. Just make a decision and move forward, bro. I think his best path or opportunity of a path to the Super Bowl is still in Green Bay. You wouldn't know that from the results that he's had the last several years, but if he goes to Tennessee, that's albeit fraudulent number 1 seed, like Megan said earlier, and in a trash division. You're still in the same conference with all those great AFC quarterbacks. Denver, I think, is even worse. Like, would he be better than Patrick Mahomes? Absolutely, but he'd still have to play him twice, and Derek Carr twice, and Justin Herbert twice. Pittsburgh,
he could handle it.
Pittsburgh, still in my mind, I think is a chance, a good chance. It seems like that's the team, the rumor of the team that's been out there for the longest.
You're saying he has to play all these quarterbacks twice. Yeah, he has to play Lamar twice, and he has to play Burrow twice.
Right. I still think I think it's a better opportunity for success than in Denver, but not much. His best bet is to stay in Green Bay. His next best bet is Tennessee. But I don't know. And he still hasn't, he hasn't really come out and said, well, I mean, obviously he hasn't come out and said what he wants to do. I don't think that he's that concerned. I don't think he's pounding his fist on the table asking for $50 million a year. He's made plenty of money. His contract right now is just fine. And if he's ever going to complain about not having enough weapons or a good enough team, then you can't ask for the bag. But I don't think that's what he's doing. I just wish he'd make up his mind because I'm tired of it.
All right, so we're going to move on to their next topic, headlines in the NFL. So the Dallas Cowboys and wide receiver Amari Cooper are expected to part ways ahead of the new league year. There's been some reports from Adam Schefter saying that their Dallas Cowboys plan is to re-sign receiver Michael Gallup to a long-term extension as well, and building their receivers around CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. Meanwhile, we've got a guy named Amari Cooper who's clearly one of the best route runners in the NFL, has been for many, many years now. He's been the best wide receiver on the Dallas Cowboys for years now. And don't forget, because I think people are really, really quick to forget this. In 2018, The Dallas Cowboys offense was putrid to watch. They could not move the ball worth anything. They could not move the ball past midfield. They could not put points on the board. Amari Cooper coming to them instantly changed their offense and made them a team to be reckoned with, an offense to be reckoned with Zeke in the backfield, who was at that time was still playing at a very high level. Dak got paid because of Amari Cooper. Without Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott would have never, ever been offered that amount of money that he signed for. So I feel like the Dallas Cowboys aren't really realize. It's going to be kind of one of those situations you don't really realize what you had until it was gone. Amari still has a skill level to flourish in many NFL offenses in today's NFL. And that's what's going to happen. And then there's going to be pressure on CeeDee Lamb, who was their first round pick. CD has to go out and prove that he is a true number one wide receiver. He did out 1,000 yards last year. But this could be another situation like Atlanta or like Pittsburgh. When Antonio Brown left, all the lights were on Juju. Prior to that, Juju was balling. Juju showed he's an average receiver. Calvin Ridley kind of had some struggles early on, and then, he was out with his mental health. And, the Falcons offense just wasn't the same without Julio. It's kind of the same thing here, and I don't think the Cowboys really realize what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll be really quick about this one. I honestly, honest to God, I did not see this coming. In fact, I thought that Gallup, because I was talking with Megan about this some time ago, that I actually thought that Gallup was going to kind of realize his worth and sign elsewhere. And then come to find out, they're about to part with Amari Cooper, who, like you said, is one of the better route runners in the league. And he also had about, 869 yards. No slouch. He almost hit 1,000 last year. And you're going to part ways with him in favor of Gallup. I think that the Cowboys will regret this move. I like CD. I really do. And they also do have Cedric Wilson back there, but they definitely going to miss Amari Cooper's presence. I think the Cowboys are making a bad mistake. Now, whether it's a mistake that keeps them out of the playoffs or not remains to be seen. Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, because there's a couple things. One is I think it's funny in a weird way that's happening because I feel bad for CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to tell you why I feel bad for CeeDee Lamb. Because he's going to have an insurmountable amount of pressure on him. He is going to have, let's say he has a 1,300-yard season. Guess what? When he misses that one drop catch, what are Cowboy fans going to do? Because they do this every time. They're going to blame it all on him. That's what they're going to do. I'm just saying, I know a lot of fans, and this
Cooper
is not
wouldn't have dropped that.
And this is not a shot at Megan, or this isn't a shot at Mike Caratenuto or Mafi Kafu, any of our friends, because they're real Cowboy fans. But I know a lot of fans who just wait to put the blame on somebody. That's what they do anytime something happens. We lost this game because of this person. We lost this game because of this person. Guess what? Without Amari Cooper, what the hell are they going to do with their route running now? I'm just being honest. Their offense
is not the same route runner Amari is, neither is Gallup.
It's a completely different offense now. It's a completely different offense without Amari Cooper. And if you don't have Amari Cooper on the squad and you're putting all that pressure and all those eggs in a basket on CeeDee Lamb to be this all-pro wide receiver, you are going to get upset and they are going to break your heart. And when they lose, just don't be blaming it all on CeeDee Lamb.
I guess I'm on an island here. I was holding out hope for you, Tyler, but I'm just going to go ahead and say first that I'm disgusted with all three of you. No wide receiver. No wide receiver. Not a single one you can name. There is not one in the NFL that is worth $20 million a year. The fact that the Cowboys drafted Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, a year or two after they signed Cooper to that extension, that tells you everything you need to know about what they think about Amari Cooper.
No, it doesn't.
Hang on, let me finish.
The Cowboys did not take CeeDee Lamb because they needed CeeDee Lamb. They took him because CeeDee Lamb was falling on the boards and he would have fallen to Philadelphia. They did it so we wouldn't draft him. They didn't do it because they needed a receiver.
True, there is that. Well, then why are they looking to get rid of him? Because he's not worth the money. And I like Amari Cooper. I like him a lot more when he's consistent, but he's not consistent. Dude disappears for entire games for weeks on end. I've watched Cowboys games, not necessarily on purpose, and I'm like, where's Amari Cooper? Is he hurt? Is he dead? Is he on the sidelines crying? He's not worth $20 million a year. No wide receiver is. They'll be just fine without him.
No, they won't. They won't be just fine without him.
That's already good anyways. Who cares about Amari Cooper?
That's where you're wrong, though, because they don't have a route runner like that. They don't have Keenan Allen. They don't have Devontae Adams. They don't have the route runner.
The problem is you're completely ignoring
for running.
You're completely ignoring the fact that he saved Dak Prescott's career.
Their offense isn't the same right now. Their offense is not the same unless they're
not using him the right way.
Well, then you should.
They're not making a trade for Keenan Allen. They're not making a trade for Devontae
really, this
Adams.
has been Jerry Jones for giving him that money. It's not Amari Cooper's fault that he got that money. It's Jerry Jones's. But Jerry Jones is an idiot.
Would you have rather, Dom? Would you have rather they ask Amari to take a pay cut to stay with the team?
Absolutely, and I hope they're telling Gallup if they're re-signing him, like, hey, bud, please don't think you're getting anywhere near $20 million because you're not as good as him, and we can't even afford him.
And that's not his problem. That's the organization's problem. They're the one that signed him to the contract.
Right,
you're blaming him and saying he's not that dude. He's not consistent. And all he's done is produce for the Cowboys. All he's done is save Dak Prescott's career and get him an extension.
I feel like
that guy's not doing what he's supposed to. What?
I feel like we are giving Jerry Jones wishy-washy decision making like praise right now, Dom, when you say that, and I don't agree with that.
I'm not. You'll never hear me praise Jerry Jones ever.
But you can't tell me that without Amari Cooper, that offense is better or gonna be fine. That doesn't make sense. It
definitely won't be better. The offense will suffer, but they've come to the realization, and it's not even just the Amari Cooper contract. It's all the other idiotic contracts that Jerry Jones has handed out, and somebody's got to go. And receivers, amongst a lot of those other positions, they're the easiest ones to replace. And
really?
I'm sorry.
Is that why the Steelers have seemingly not been able to replace Antonio Brown's production? Is that why the Falcons offense
are great at drafting wide receivers?
Couldn't replace Julio's production because receivers grow on trees? Is that what you're telling me? Because that couldn't be further from the truth.
Receiver is the easiest position to replace.
No, it's not. Yeah. Running back is the easiest position to replace. They're paying Zeke all this money.
It's hard to replace Antonio Brown.
They had washed Darren McFadden, who rushed for 1,000 yards. Running back is a lot easier to replace than receiver.
I disagree because the wide receiver group is larger.
Plus,
you can't bring AB or Julio Jones. Of course it's going to be hard to replace all-time great. Those are two Hall of Famers. Of course
then give me an example of a receiver that was good to great that was easily replaced. Exactly.
Don't put me on the spot. Kenny Galladay, but he was never great. But he was easily replaced.
Dom had this all.
He was overrated. He got overpaid. That's a terrible example.
Dom had all this coming because he tried to call all three of us out. Like he didn't think we were all going to fire him back. He had this coming, bro.
Okay, guys, we got to get to it. We can't do this all night.
Story.
You need to check yourself. We're going to Sports Moron. All right, so you know what? I'm gonna let Tyler start this off because he had a few Sports Morons that he wanted to get to. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, so first we're gonna start with Rob Manfred, right? This is and he's everybody's Sports Moron this week, but he was reportedly asked by a reporter why the bargaining didn't begin 3 months after the lockout, and he straight up ignored the question. He was smiling at.
And I'm actually gonna play the clip for us real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you got it.
See, you locked out the players to jumpstart the negotiations. It feels like real bargaining went on just in the last 24 to 36 hours. I'm sure people are wondering why not over the last three months or even longer to get to a point where you're not necessarily canceling games because there's momentum here.
Yeah, I think the best answer to that question is the last 10 days. We've been here, full committees, players for 10 days, and it got going 2 days before the deadline. That's the best explanation I can give you.
Hey, Rob, understanding the deadlines create hurt.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so that just shows a straight up lack of leadership and accountability. That's absolutely terrible.
So yeah, and then Manfred also claimed that the revenue being difficult the last 5 years, but people seem to forget that in 2019, before this pandemic hit, and we had a full season of MLB baseball, they raked in a record $11 billion dollars.
Billion with a B.
So people need to stop saying that they didn't make any money because that is untrue. I
Straight
suggest
up.
that you start fact checking yourself. You start looking things up because they raked in $11 billion. And then, of course, Manfred laughed when the reporter asked about the season being postponed. Listen, bro, you just got 42 minor league teams cut, and you called the World Series trophy a couple of years a hunk of metal. I don't want to hear it. He's my sports moron. Absolutely. He should be everyone's. And then my second sports moron of the week is Colin Cowherd. Do you have the clip? Do you have the
Don't
clip
hate on
for
my
this
boy
one?
Cowherd.
Yeah, hold on one second. Just go ahead and keep talking for a little bit, Tyler. I'm going to pull up that clip.
So Colin Cowherd was talking about the UFC fight, and he was talking about Jorge Masvidal. As Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington are fighting for the welterweight championship tonight. He said that Jorge Masvidal was on a 5-fight winning streak, which is in fact untrue. He's on a 2-fight losing streak right now. I don't understand why. I don't understand why it's hard for sports personalities to just Google something for 10 seconds. If I can do that, and I can do like a podcast every episode for MMA or something like that, and all I have to do is literally SureDog something, Tapology something, hell, even Google something, you can find out that information. So hang that big old L over your head, Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd knows less about UFC than Screamin' A. Smith does about football. Remember when Screamin' A tried to call Dwayne Haskins a mobile quarterback?
Oh, yeah.
And he's a statue?
I remember that.
Okay, guys, I got the clip right here. I'm going to show everyone. So this is what Colin had to say when he was on his show about everything. Okay, this is it right here.
Kind of a relentless attacker. Masvidal is interesting. He's very popular. I get a big personality. He's won his last 5 fights. He'll go after you. So when I look at this, not that it's Diaz and McGregor, but the style tells me get there early. This could be fast, right? Okay, McGregor Diaz 3. I said this when it happened. I said it reminded me of Ali Frazier. I tend to think styles make fights. And Covington.
So guys, he just straight up showed you why he's a complete casual when it comes to this.
Right.
When it comes to this stuff, like if you don't know about this type of stuff, if you don't know about UFC,
don't
boxing,
talk about it.
Combat sports, it's not a type of sport. It's not like any other sport. It's not like the NBA or any other sport where you can be a casual fan in it. You have to really like keep up with all the stuff, and these people just don't. Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, a lot of these big media personalities, they don't do that, and they just try to sound like they know what they're talking about, and then they just end up exposing themselves.
I was going to say,
to respond to John Shear, can I honorable mention Rob Manfred? We just said that a couple minutes ago. We were just talking about Rob.
Yeah,
Manfred.
we definitely. Yeah, him and Colin Cowherd are the morons so far. I forget what this guy's name was.
Even if you didn't know anything about UFC or anything about Colin Cowherd, just watching that clip, you can kind of tell he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, just stay in your lane, Colin Cowherd. And I like Colin Cowherd, but don't talk like. I saw like the beginning of that clip and I just skipped over it because I'm like, I don't care what he has to say about UFC because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right. He's an idiot.
In this case, yes.
So I have another one. This guy's name is Rob something. Or Jason. No, I thought his name was Rob. Sorry. His name is Jason something. I'm going to show the clip what he had to say about James Harden and Joel Embiid over filling in. He was filling in for Skip Bayless on the Undisputed show. So we're going to just show this real quick.
Oh, no.
This is a
not Jason Whitlock.
This is a terrible.
No, this guy.
Bozos in Philadelphia. The reality is these are two great regular season players, right? James Harden, an iconic regular season player. All he does in the playoffs is choke. And Joel Embiid, he's never been an alpha in the playoffs.
First of all, you're a dumbass.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna cut that off at that point. I'm not sure who this kid is, but all right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm gonna say first. He said the dumbest part of this is Joel Embiid. He's saying that Joel Embiid has not been an alpha in the playoffs. Last year, torn meniscus, average 40 points.
True.
Unstoppable on a torn meniscus. And you're going to say that he doesn't deserve to be an MVP candidate. He went on later on in the show to say that Joel and James are not a top 5 NBA duo. And he went on to say that, you know, guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam is a better duo than Joel and James Harden. So, and many other duos that were also not better. So it was just a totally ridiculous take. It was disrespectful. And I think that the Sixers are we're becoming the villains. Like, we're the team that nobody wants us to be successful because nobody wants James Harden to be successful. And now people don't want Joel Embiid to be successful because people forgot that before he got injured last season, he was well on his way to winning the league MVP. And he's doing the same thing this year right now, likely going to win it this year if he continues to stay healthy, knock on wood for that. But totally ridiculous take that makes absolutely no sense.
Go ahead, Jay. Mine will be quick. I'll go at the end.
Oh, okay. Oh no, mine's quick also. I see we got 3 minutes left. But hey James, did you ever get the name of that one that I'm about to bring up?
Man, I forgot his name. I tried to find it, but I wasn't able to.
Oh, okay. Then. Well, anyway, my sports moron, wherever he's at, he
I sent it to the group chat though, so you guys are watching, you guys probably know what it is.
I know.
He's first of all, he misspelled the meme. So what he was trying to say was Dak Prescott is the only quarterback that could dominate in any era. First and foremost, he misspelled dominate with 2 O's. Second of all, in any error, ERROR. Buddy, the only thing that you dominate is committing errors. Okay? And then on top of that, and I get it, everyone's got their own opinions. But remember earlier in the telecast when I said Dak only got 1 playoff win? So explain to me how he can dominate in any era, ERA, with only 1 playoff win. So we're putting them in the same sentence as Montana, Marino, Brady.
He can't even succeed in his own era.
Thank you. And that's not saying he's not good, but dominate in any era. Come on now.
And just to throw a little bit on that, guys, we use spell check. This is 2022. Come on, man.
Nothing makes me angrier on earth than when people misspell in their memes.
Oh,
I hate it.
It's 2022. Like, come on, bro.
Go ahead, Dom.
My sports morons. It's a large group. It is any analyst, any fan, any general manager, any owner that thinks any of these quarterbacks are worth taking in the first round because none of them are.
I agree.
I'm with Detroit, baby.
Kenny Pickett has baby hands. Malik Willis couldn't throw sand in the ocean. It's making my head hurt just thinking about it. So,
get those
baby hands.
He does. Every one of us has bigger hands by like an inch.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that quarterback class is ass. It's just bad, bro.
What was it? Thy class is trash.
Thy class is trash. Yes.
Oh boy. So that's it. Wrapping it up.
That's it.
That's absolutely it. So real quick, guys, shout out to the Sideline Sports Network for sponsoring the show. Shout out to you guys, all the hard work you do. It's very much appreciated. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Megan Price, host of the Sip Off. Make sure you guys tune into that show Thursdays at 8:15 Eastern. Best stuff going on in basketball. They're going to have a fantastic show breaking down the March Madness tournament, everything you need to know, filling out your brackets, NBA carousel as well. There's a lot of different people that bring stuff to the table covering different teams. So it's a really good opportunity for you guys to learn everything that's going on around the NBA.
You can see all of us there.
And
By
then,
the way,
you know,
John. By the way, John's comment reminds me of the hands from Scary Movie. Is hilarious. Take my strong hand. Yes, bro.
Oh man,
yeah, that's
So
pretty good,
funny,
John.
bro.
That was pretty good. But with that being said, guys, you guys can definitely catch us there. Appreciate everyone watching tonight. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up so we can get this out to as many people as possible. This is the 4 Horsemen of the Gauntlet. We will see you guys on the next episode.